Hello, my name is Kim Brown, and I am a member of the Financial Awards Committee with the Beta Beta chapter. And the purpose for this is to help you learn consistent rubric scoring practices, to understand the differences between exceeds, meets, close, or major gaps on those rubrics, and then to prepare for individual and independent review and then a future committee discussion so that we can actually decide who will be receiving the awards and how much they will be getting. So first off, there are some things that you want to do prior to our selection meeting, and then I want to give you some foreshadowing of what we're going to be doing at the selection meeting. Number one is already the applications have been received and they have been redacted. We've moved any identifying information from the applications. You have your own copy of your applications and you have your own rubrics, and there is a rubric for each individual application. So you can feel free to print these out, or you can just do everything 100% online. We've already got things set up in Google Drive for you. You can highlight directly on the information in Google Drive. You can insert comments if you want also. So you decide. Now, once you go through, you read all the applications, you highlight them, you mark them up, you fill out the rubrics, and you make sure that you're looking at each application through the same lenses. Then you take that to our selection meeting and we'll have a discussion based on who everybody's strongest candidate is. That's how we usually start from there, and then we start going into the details of what made them our strong candidates. So it's really important that you fill in the notes section so that you can speak to your candidates' strengths and help with the process, and so that we can identify who gets the awards and how much they get. So the materials are already set up for you. They are in a folder for you. The folder is in our BBEF Google Drive folder, and it's in the giving committees, and then from there it's in financial awards, but you will be sent a direct link to get straight to your folder. And as you can see from the slide in front of you, in your folder you're going to have two things. You're going to have your rubrics, so that are however many applicants we have, that's how many rubrics you have. They're on one document and they're just listed one after the other. Like you can see in the image below, we've got candidate number 1 rubric and we've got candidate number 2 rubric, and you can see their numbers are up in the upper left-hand corner. So it's important that if you're reviewing application 1, you fill out rubric number 1. If you're reviewing application 7, you're filling out rubric number 7. So anyway, that's a quick overview, and again, the link has been sent to you for your specific folder and your documents in there. The other thing that's in there is the redacted applicants. So they're all in one document. We have a nice cover page for you, and all of the different candidates have been hyperlinked so that when you push on the link, it'll take you to the bookmark location where you see the applications. And so you can go through them. When you do the review process, you don't have to go through in order. You can skip around if you want to, but always make sure you're filling out the right rubric for the right candidate. So let's dive into this a little deeper. Confidentiality expectations. The folders are private for our eyes only. I want to make sure we do not share the material. It is all confidential. We want to respect the information that's in the applications, even though they have been redacted. We do need to respect that. You don't want to share these, and don't leave things around in public. If you do decide to print them out, make sure that they're always in a secure location. Our rubric has a basic scale, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4 is like the absolute best. 1 is the worst that they can score. I always like to start with meets in the middle. So first, when you're reading through like a section, a question that the applicant have, you want to see, did they clearly address all of the criteria? Did they really answer the question? And what I always look for is, did they answer it, or is it just like a textbook answer? Because if it's a textbook answer, I don't know that it really meets. They really need to put themselves into answering the question. Now, let's say that not only do they answer the question, but then they give specific examples and they take it beyond what we ask them, where they're actually applying it in real life, or they're giving their plans for the future of how they're going to do things. then that, I would say, bumps it up to exceed. Exceptional depth, detail, alignment. Now, let's say that they didn't quite meet all of the criteria, but they're really close, or maybe they answered all the questions, but like I said, textbooky, very vague. Then I would put them at a close. If there are major gaps, they're missing information, that would give them a 1. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is it's really important to comment on the rubrics. Don't just mark a section. Yeah, they got a 3 here. They got a 4 there. They got a 1 there. Actually give some specific examples, because remember, you're going to be bringing this to our committee meeting. You might have looked at these applications a week or 2 before you came. Your mind might not remember everything as sharply as when you first read it. So those notes are not only to prompt you, but to also give you speaking points when we're maybe debating on, does this candidate get anything, or do they get $1,000, or do they get $10,000? So it's really important to pay attention here. So just as a quick example, I put this down. It was question number 1 on certification preparation. And this person did not discuss their academic career. They only told us what their university was that they were going to. They did not summarize their teacher preparation. They just said what their major was going to be. And they didn't give any background to align their experiences with standards, with their intent, with TSPC. So for this one, they were kind of vague. So I gave them a 2 on this. Some people might have given a 1. But anyway, details are given there. So the first question, there are a number of questions that we're going to go through that are on the application. The first question has to do with the certification preparation. The questions that the candidate saw on the application specifically was to discuss your academic career and summarize your present preparation for teacher certification. This is what meets looks like. They discussed their academic career, teacher preparation. They summarized their preparation, and their experiences align with intent of TSPC. An exceed would give strong examples, reflections, and show readiness. A close would be maybe responding, lack detail or alignment, vague. And gap would be, it was lower than a close. And the gaps you're going to find, they're always going to be lower than a close. A close is not hitting meets. An exceeds is going beyond meets. So the first question that we're going to score them either on, a 4 exceeds, 3 meets, 2 close, or a 1 gap. The next question, we're also going to score them on that 4 points, and they're going to be talking about their future goals. We're going to actually look for them talking about what they want to do with their career. They're going to be focusing on elementary or secondary. Are they going to be going post-secondary? So we really are looking for some examples here, and their answer to the question needs to express the passion and action. And exceeds would be thoughtful, actionable vision. Maybe they take it to the next steps. So again, 4-point scale there. The next one is on special qualities. This is where we get to know a little bit more about them. They're telling us who they are, what specific qualities they bring to their profession, or what background information. And then if they can link their personality or their experiences with what we're doing. And this is where they can really get it into the exceeds. When they get those meaningful examples, they maybe give some reflection on it. Talk about maybe the students they're able to connect with, or the situational examples, or how they're going to be able to enrich what they're doing in the classroom because of those past experiences. That would be an exceed. Close, again, vague, maybe unsupported. Maybe they didn't totally give us a full picture, and a gap would be worse than close. The next question, number 4, also would be scored on that 4-point scale. It's talking about equitable education for all. So number 4, what are your aspirations toward providing an equitable education for all students and for closing the achievement gap? Now, to meet, they need to talk about this. It needs to include some cultural awareness and talk about teaching and learning practices that are equitable. This is one where we seem to get a lot of textbooky answers, like in theory, it's like I could Google that or I could ask AI. So we're looking for more rich examples to get to exceeds. Is they're talking about specific teaching strategies. They are talking about maybe doing different learning styles to address the whole child. To get an exceed, they do not have to be bilingual. They do not have to have taken classes on specific, niche little things. But they do need to show that there's an application and they see the connection to looking beyond themselves and their own experiences to meeting the needs of students from diverse backgrounds at all different learning levels and cultural backgrounds. Again, 4-point scale there. Number 5, this has to do with aligning with our teaching and learning standards. So number 5, the Oregon Department of Education has established academic content standards that identify what Oregon students are expected to know and be able to do in the content areas. How do you plan to apply these standards in your teaching practice? So a MEETS, they talk about their content. They talk about the skills, maybe the language objectives. They discuss teaching and learning practices. Exceeds is they apply it. Maybe they give us specific examples of lessons that they have taught. Maybe they may analyze how they have taught them or talk about the standards and what writing activities, what reading activities, what lab type activities they might be using. A close might be, again, kind of a little textbook, generalized. You can tell that they don't have any ideas for application in there. And then a 1 would be the lowest you could score them on it. Now, number 6 is not actually scored, but this is in the rubric where you can explain their financial need. So in question number 6 on their application, explain your financial need. Have you completed and submitted your FAFSA? Are you currently working? How much college debt do you currently have? How much financial aid are you receiving? Are you receiving financial assistance from other sources, including family? So they do need to answer all of these questions to get a MEET. Because they don't get scored on this. But this is where you would want to write in that information, because this is more of what we look at after we've decided who our main applicants who are going to be given the award are, because this helps us to determine how much they're going to get. So you do want to fill in that information there. Not scored, no 4-point scale. But we do hope they answer all those questions. Number 7 is also not scored. It's giving us an idea of what they're going to be using the money for. Again, an important thing that we're going to look at when we're determining how much they're going to give. So put the things in there. In examples, tuition, books, certification costs, transportation. It could even be childcare. Yes, we will help with childcare. So anything that goes towards helping them to get into that classroom or to complete their program so they can get into to become a certified teacher that can be employed in the state of Oregon. Number 8 is scored on a rubric, the 4-point scale, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is a little more combined, cumulative. We're asked every application to give 2 references. One is a faculty member in their major or in their teaching program, and the second one can be anyone. It could be a friend, a family member, it could be their cooperating teacher. And this is a combined score. So specifically the references are sent in and you receive those also. They are redacted and each applicant has the answers to all their questions and then their 2 references are put in there. And the questions we ask are for referral are passion for teaching, understanding of their content area, engaging all students in learning, worth ethics, and anything else they want to tell us. So again, you're looking at MEETs first. They talk about their skills and their abilities in their curriculum and their content level area. Student, peer, supervisor interaction, so how they get along with people, and the ability to learn, and and to take feedback and to actually use what they have learned. So you're kind of glumming together those references. Let's say you have a glowing reference and you have, just an okay reference. If the glowing one far exceeded the they just kind of met, they seem like a good candidate, give them a 3.5 or give them a 4, but do write down your comments there. A close would be one of those references where they answered the questions, but you could tell that there was really not much passion behind them. A 1 would be if they answered it in such a way that you really question if this person should be a teacher. Now, common scoring challenges. Avoid scoring too generously, like everybody's a 4. If you're finding that everybody's a 4, go back. You need to be looking with a more critical eye. Another thing is that a lot of times people, when you're reviewing, you have your own experiences that you're bringing to how you are evaluating them. And sometimes you'll see something and it'll trigger in your mind, oh, this is what I've done in the past, so that must be what they mean. No, you're looking at the writing on the page. Don't read in between the lines here. Don't assume information that is not included. You want to focus on evidence and not the writing style. So let's say that you find their writing style is kind of confusing. And we see this a lot of times when the English is not the first language. Don't get lost in that. You're looking for the content, the information that they are giving you, not the subject, noun, verb, order. So don't get caught up in the writing style. Really look for the evidence in the content. And reserve exceeds for those exceptional responses where they've really gone above the bar. You can see the application, you can see the passion. And what if they answered, what if they didn't fully answer a question, but later on, you see that it's in a different part of the application? Does it count? Can you go back and fix your score? Yes, you can. Because we're not trying to ding them on, oh, you didn't answer the question fully. We're trying to find out what they have, what they've done, who they are as a candidate for this. So if they answered question number 3 in question number 7, grab it, we'll move it to question number 3, make a reference in your note, and change their score appropriately. It counts because we're not trying to ding them on something. Again, we're trying to get an image of them as a candidate. And after you evaluate the application, you want to tally their overall score. So for this candidate, they had a meet, an exceed, a meet, a close, a meet, no score, and then another meet. So we add those up, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, and a 3. Their overall score is 18 out of 24. And then you want to add comment down to the bottom. So kind of look at what you wrote in the comments for each of the questions and add a comment down at the bottom. And this is really going to help as, an opening conversation starter when we start looking at applications. And also, it will help you too when you go back, because it is, I think I'm jumping ahead of myself, but sometimes we start off grading harshly and then we ease up as we get going, or sometimes we start off easy and we get harder. So this is a good calibration thing to look at. Another thing I want to just bring your attention to is make sure you're completing your rubrics correctly. Make sure that if it's rubric number 1, you're analyzing candidate number 1. If it's rubric number 4, you're doing candidate number 4. Make sure they match. Give detailed notes and comments, and prepare to discuss scoring during the committee work time. Our expectation is that you will bring the completed rubrics, you will bring the applications, and that might mean you're bringing your computer, you're bringing your laptop, you're bringing in a tablet, you're bringing your phone, although that would be a little cumbersome going through the phone, or if you have a printout, bring it. We're focusing on evidence and criteria, not just a heartfelt story because once upon a time my great aunt did this and this candidate did that, so I think that they deserve this. That's all good. And it's important, but for the awards, we're looking at evidence and criteria. And of course, we want to work respectfully towards consensus. Final reminders: be objective, protect the confidentiality, Make sure you use your comments to support the decisions you made in the scores that you give. Follow the rubric criteria carefully and check yourself out. Maybe compare a few applications and rubrics to ensure that you've been consistent in how you've been grading it. And if you have questions, please reach out to other committee members to get their input, because a lot of us have gone through this a few times. We know the hurdles and the places where we stumble, and we could probably give you some advice or at least ask you some questions so that you can figure it out. And I want to thank you. Thank you for taking time to listen to this presentation. Thank you for agreeing to help out with the application assessment process. And also thank you for helping to select candidates to receive these great awards for the Margaret Nielsen Financial Award. Thank you.